Welcome back to the Julian J. Franco Show, a show where I bring to you some of the greatest people that I know and people who I would hang out with behind the scenes. So we're going to get into why they accomplish so much in their lives on the career aspect and also their pros and cons for nurturing relationships. So today we have one of my favorite and funniest and just one of the most charismatic people that I know. His name is Spencer Means, and he is a real estate mogul and expert. Celebrities such as Spike Lee and Samuel L. Jackson trust him with finding their new homes. He has generated more than 100 million in sales and been in the business for over 20 years. He has a background in commercial and residential real estate. You know, he's been featured in many of the leading publications, including the New York Times, New York Magazine, and the New York Observer, and much, much more. And he's also the Pharrell Williams of the real estate industry. For those of you listening, please make sure to look him up so you see why I'm saying that. And a lot of people refer to him as ageless. So once you see pictures of Spencer Means, you'll know why they say that. Now, a fun fact is I actually met Spencer while I was at New York Sports Club. I was working out there. I later became a personal trainer there, but while I was working out there, I met him. And one thing that I found fascinating was he was the only individual there who was working out in a really expensive Rolex. So Spencer Means, number one, thank you for coming on the show. And can you give us the scoop on why you wear a Rolex while you work out?
I wear a sports watch. It just happens to be a Rolex. It's just, I don't believe in credit card debt. So when I buy something, it's always paid for in full. And I think that's one thing we as consumers have to wrap our minds around. Don't finance shit. The only thing that you should finance is a house, not a car, not jewelry, not clothing. The layaway plan went out when I left Birmingham, Alabama. My mom used to say, people go down to Sears and Roebuck, let me put it on layaway. Not Spencer Means. I'm cash and carry, Negro. You know what I mean? Because if you're not cash and carry, you don't have no money in the bank. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you.
You know what? You're catching me at this hour when I'm just walking in the door from a long day, out showing places. I have a team. I'm with Compass Real Estate right now. I was with Corcoran for over 25 years. I'm 58 now, be 59 in November. I said, Lord, I'm an old man. I'm probably a lot older than most of these people watching this show, but at the same time, it's just that you just got to get up and go and stay current with everything, you know, and that's my inspiration of every day, staying current, staying on top of it, and enjoying life. And everyone, it sounds so cliche-ish that everyone says, I'm going to enjoy life. No, I really try to keep negativity away from me. I may not talk about people very rarely, only when they need it. But I try to be as real and honest as possible. I tell everyone that has worked for me, I have mentored, to be honest, forthright, and always tell the truth. Because when you tell a lie, you never tell a lie over and over again, consistently, the same story. When you tell the truth, when someone's telling you the truth, it's the same story beat, same storyline.
I love that. I love that.
You know what? I mean, hey, I've been around people, they say, oh yeah, I got up at 8. Next minute, they say, oh, I got up at 9. I said, well, shit, you can't count.
100%. And Spencer, that's such a good point because you don't have to backtrack, right? You don't have to work so hard when you're telling the truth. And that's one thing I know you to be. You're a man of honesty. You tell it how it is. You don't sugarcoat anything. I've been in rooms with you where you call people out like that in front of whoever. It doesn't matter to you, but you do it in a tasteful way. You don't just go out because you want to pit on someone. It's because you feel like they're being dishonest. You will call them out on that. So one thing Spencer Means, if somebody meets you, they obviously right off the bat, they see that Southern hospitality, that Southern charm that you have, and you being from Birmingham, you know, what do you miss most about your hometown? When you think about it, what is it that you remember the most from being there and growing up?
Being in the backyard and running through those fields. I'm just kidding. I was raised in the suburbs of Birmingham, and most people who have never been to the South, always think of a shotgun house, and they don't realize that you do have a middle class lifestyle. I don't have those woe is me stories. I mean, I was raised by a wonderful mother and father, both college graduates. My grandparents went to college. My great grandparents went to college. And one thing that my grandparents instilled in me is knowing how to count and how to write a letter. And those are two things that are missing from the younger generation. I think anyone less than 35, they love to text, but they use these acronyms like U is not spelled Y-O-U, U is spelled with a letter U. And I had one of my team members who's happened to be a person of color. I said to him, you know what? People are always discounting us for being not intellects, and they always underestimate us. Don't give them an inch to do that. So always go 100% when you're writing something out. If you feel like you have a typo in it, have someone else read it. Grammatical errors, someone else read it. And you just have to catch yourself at times with that, because we have lived through the last 4 years with a crazy man being in the White House. And I don't want to harp on that shit, and lies and what have you. And you just have to that's where these last 4 years have brought me to, in the sense of you just have to tell the truth to people. You cannot go around making up bullshit.
That's so powerful, Spencer. And that's something that I really enjoyed that you said. Being a person of color, you just exude excellence, Spencer. Like whenever, even if you're walking to the gym, you're leaving your office, and I've had the pleasure of being inside of your office. Your office is really well kept, such a beautiful view.
Yeah, I'm on 53rd and 5th Avenue, and I have a window office.
Beautiful.
I'm not looking at the wall.
No, exactly.
But some of my colleagues of a different hue always ask, how did I end up there? And I always say, I work hard. I mean,
Spencer, do you find that some people are almost mystified at your success? They like, how can you have achieved that?
It's an old saying, and I know you may have to take this out, is my grandfather used to say, "It's nothing like a white man with a penny seeing a nigger with a nickel." It kind of throws them off. And I think that is where it's the Obama thing. No one can understand how Obama became president, being so well educated, the most educated president that we've ever elected, that was a constitutional lawyer, and people still discount him. And they compare him to Trump, who's an idiot, who was an immigrant, in fact. Parents are immigrants that came to this country, and they swear he was off the boat from Africa. I mean, it's astonishing how people evaluate things and look at life. And
Why do you think people still do that, Spencer? Like, people are intelligent.
It's embedded in them. It's taught from their parents. I think people will judge the color of our skin and who we are, I mean, way after you and I are dead. And long as they know they're doing that, that's just taking one step at a time, educating them a little bit further. I think just as the January 6th terrorist attack on the Capitol, and you still have people comparing it to Black Lives Matter protests over people of color being shot in their bed in their own apartment, murdered by police officers. To compare those two of people who terrorized the Capitol thinking it was a fraudulent election, which it wasn't, versus people having facts of a Black man getting shot, getting out of his car. It's baffling that people would even compare the two. Really, that's the world that we live in. It's sad. For my 58 years being on this earth, it's changed only a little.
Wow.
People
You
say,
spent.
oh yeah, you're from the South, you've seen so much. No, I've seen more in New York than I have in Birmingham, Alabama. And I have a place in Miami, Miami. I mean, let's not talk about Miami. You go down there, you have people that are been here for 6 months and they're all Republicans, which is crazy to me, as they bring you some water and a towel on the beach. I'm not being elitist, but I mean, and they're Republican, saying Trump, and barely can say the word Republican.
So at the top of the show, we let everybody know how Spencer Means tells it how it is. What is it about you, Spencer, that just always allowed you, whatever room you're in, whatever community you find yourself in, you just speak it straight from the heart and there's no filter. What is it about you that allows you to be that bold and courageous?
I've seen a lot just be honest, I've seen a lot of death. I've seen a lot of people come to New York that couldn't make it here, move back home, live with their parents. I mean, I've seen a lot. And I think our lives are like a quilt. We learn from every piece of fabric that's added to it, and then we move ahead from that. And then it becomes this beautiful blanket. Sometimes it's a mess. Some fabrics are very cheap. I always like to speak from the moment. I have someone I know that went on national television this week and told a story, and I said, oh my God, this person is telling a story about how much they need and what have you, but then you go to their Instagram page and they're in Mexico. I said, what the fuck? They're saying they're 5 months behind in rent, but they're in Mexico. I said, how the fuck did someone end up 5 months behind in rent and on vacation on the boat? I said, it's a fantasy world. And I think people need to get out of the fantasy world. I don't know which one is true. Should I help the person out? Or should I be like upset? Because I'm here working snowstorms and what have you every day, struggling to get shit done and have deals done during COVID. But they're on vacation, 5 months back in rent, and they were on national television. I'm not going to say their name, but I'm going to take my cocktail.
Spencer.
It's another show, Ignorance After Midnight.
Ignorant. Well, I'm going to help you start that one, Spencer.
We're going to do it. We're going to have Nene Leaks on there. Right
okay,
after midnight. We'll call it Ignorance After Midnight. Okay.
Good. Now, since we're on that topic of work ethic, that's something, again, just shadowing you, because you were really graceful enough to allow me to go into your office and just shadow you for the day, see what work is like. And you delegate work heavily. Whenever there's something to be had done, I hear you delegating. You're checking up on meetings, phone calls, if emails have been sent out, if letters have been sent out. You're going from floor to floor, checking up on people. So you are a man of high efficiency, but there are those people who may be behind on rent. You know, they're collecting debt, but they still take a trip to Mexico. What is it about you that just always has you fired up to be a man of, just a great work ethic?
Like I said, you got to handle your finances. And finance and romance don't go together. No, I mean, it's an old song. Ain't nothing going on but the rent. You have to have a job. You're going to be with me. That's why I got off Tinder. But because none of those motherfuckers got a job. I said, okay, what the hell is going on here? But you have to be focused. You have to put blinders on. And I'm very blessed that I'm able to multitask. A lot of people aren't. And what I did ask for my team members at Compass, I said to them, give me a breakdown of your strengths and your weaknesses. And one of my team members said how much of a EQ they had. And I never heard the word EQ, emotional connection to a person. He could walk in and fill people out. So I've been testing him on that. And it's strange that I threw a question out to him. I said, what does that person think? He said, I got to think about it. I said, well, your EQ is not as high as you think it is. If you need to walk in the room and evaluate the situation. He said, but I'm from the streets. I know shit. I said, no. EQ means that you can evaluate when that person's upset, their next move is going to be, and what have you. And if you have a seller and a buyer, you have to anticipate what that buyer is going to say and what that seller is going to say and how they're going to negotiate that deal. And he's learning later. He's learning at this stage of his life, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, emotional intelligence is something that I feel is more important than anything else, right? You could have the real estate license, the broker's license, you can know everything it is to know about Manhattan and New York, but as soon as you're showing these homes and people don't have that connection with you, you can lose off right away. So what would you tell people if they're getting into the real estate market? Because obviously for you to have sold as much property as you have, you got a gift with people. What do you think people are missing out on when they're giving these home tours? Like, what are the essentials of a great tour?
Listening. I always tell my team to listen. When someone comes in and you just ask very poignant questions, meaning, when are you looking to buy? What size apartment are you looking for? Certain things you should ask before you even make the appointment. People speak of the pre-qualifications, but I've had celebrities and they may be married to someone, go out and look for a home, and they say they want to look at $4 million homes, and the broker will look at them because of their hue and say, oh, are you qualified? And I don't ask a person that, but it's a way you can ask a person and you can figure that shit out.
Right. So you're not wasting your time. Right. And Spencer, one thing that I found fascinating was just like your graduation, right? You had a choice between two gifts, right? It was the car or the cash. What did you take?
The cash.
Why?
Because I said I wanted to move to New York and escape the South.
Why was New York in your heart?
I wanted to have my freedom of my sexual freedom. I came out as a Black gay man when I moved to New York.
Excellent. So where you were in Birmingham, they probably weren't as, as free thinking as we are in New York.
I remember the South is the Bible Belt.
Mm-hmm.
And I was accepted by Morehouse and Tuskegee when my parents and my grandparents went to school. And I decided to come to New York, and I majored in merchandising at FIT, which was, different. And then I realized fashion doesn't pay the bills as much. I was not born with that strong of a silver spoon in my mouth that I could choose my career that I could not have. People in fashion do make money, but it wasn't for me. My love was real estate because that's the business I was born into. My grandfather was in it, my father was in it, and my great-grandfather owned land. So I was very fortunate to be in the business all my life. And I realized after going to FIT, majoring in merchandising, working in retail in the buyer's office at Bloomingdale's, worked at Tiffany's and Company, that I really had a passion for real estate. I always used to pick up, and people may not remember this, it was the time when the New York Times real estate section was delivered on Saturday evening. I would go to the news stand, pick up the Times, and bring it home and read the real estate section every Saturday night, and wake up Sunday and just look at the apartments that I wanted to live in or even see in New York City. And then I met Vanessa Williams at that time when she just became Miss New York. Then she became Miss America. We became friends, and then she moved back to New York. I helped her with her kids find a lot of place. Then I met Tanya Lee 2 years after marrying Spike. And she was, I think she was just getting pregnant with Jackson at the time, their youngest. And then I was selling their house for them in Brooklyn. And then from there, the snowball just happened, one person after another. Then I met Lynn Winfield, who took me to Denzel Washington's play called Julius Caesar. that was on Broadway. There I met LaTanya and Sam Jackson. Then LaTanya and Sam said they wanted to place it and they used me. Then and then snowballed from there. Now I worked with everyone. All the kids of Zoe Jackson, Sam and LaTanya's daughter, John David Washington, Danzel's son, who's now taking off and big celebrity. If anyone's out there, watch Malcolm and Marie, which is a fabulous movie. It's amazing. And then I have Kai Miller, who's Stevie Wonder's ex-wife. I'm trying to help her and Stevie's son find a place here in New York. He's in fashion business and he's a spokesperson, I think, for Dolce & Gabbana.
Now, since you have all these celebrity clients, number one, in real estate, having any clients who are loyal consumers who keep coming back to you, that's already a gift in itself. But when you have celebrity clients, that comes with a whole different caliber of professionalism. So I'm just so curious, Spencer, because you are just so great at nurturing your friendships. You know, whenever I see you, whenever I hear from you, I feel like I just saw you yesterday. You know, you always give me time, and for you to be as busy as you are, but you still treat everyone as if they're on your level. You never make somebody feel like they're lower than you or less than you. I just always, amen to, but you believe it. Right, but Spencer, there's a lot of people who say that, but they don't act it. You know, you actually believe it, and people can tell being in your presence. You know, even just this past Christmas, I had the beautiful joy being in your home, and you know, you gave me a bottle of something that I can't even pronounce. It was like all wrapped in gold, and it was over like $300, and you just said, okay. Oh, the Ace of Spades, right? Yeah, something like that. I'm like, wow, you're just so generous with everything that you have. And it's something that I want everybody listening to know that. So when you have these celebrity clients, how do you go about nurturing friendships with them? Do you have any boundaries? Like, well, this is my client.
Mm-hmm. But no, the ones I name are friends of mine. And there are more that are friends of mine. But there are some that aren't friends, that I just keep a very business relationship with.
How do you decide?
It's the vibe, just like with anyone, just like you and I are friends. You understand? Certain people, you can't let everyone into your life.
That's such a good point.
Yeah. You have I have a limit on my friends. I get to 100 and then 101 doesn't.
Now, Spencer, going back to your home, I tell you this all the time, and people who are watching right now, they can see in the background, your home almost looks as if it's a darn museum. How did you go about creating that space?
I've seen so many properties. I mean, I take a bite off of everyone. I go to friends' houses, I take a bite off of what they have. In fact, I have a dinner party tonight I'm doing for a friend, and I took a bite off of what he's done to his place. And I take a bite off of how he cooks. Because, you know, every person don't like to give up a recipe, but I just sit there and watch and listen. And there's one thing I learned from my grandparents too. An empty wagon makes a lot of noise. So you just sit back and don't need to say shit, because you don't need to be an empty wagon, because we only got one mouth and two ears. So you keep that mouth shut majority of the time and listen with either ear.
I love that. Okay, now Spencer, oh, so many questions for you, limited time. You are a man of fashion, obviously, you know, your studies and growing up. What is it about you that makes you show up the way you show up? Because like I said, whether you're going to the gym, you're going to the office, you're going for a little drink, you're having a dinner party, you always seem to present yourself so classy and so well dressed. Is there a secret? Is there a method, or just like, it is what it is?
You know what? You should always wear what you're comfortable in. That's my thing. If you're not comfortable in it, don't put it on. Like, I mean, hey, I upgraded and bought this thing for myself.
Good.
I think, you know what? I need a Rolex on my wrist. I said, all right, I got myself my bracelets.
Beautiful.
And you should know what you look good at. Look in the mirror and look with that discriminating eye and know what you look at it. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And people tend to either overdo it or they don't know what to wear. Less is more sometimes.
I respect that. Now, going back to you having a dinner party tonight, you are known for cooking. Every time on Instagram when you post a nice meal that you made, and you cook a lot, and you say all for one, you know what I mean? Like, cause you cook a lot, and everybody's always saying, oh my gosh, invite me over, save me some, because people obviously know you are a king in that kitchen. What's one of the meals, what's your go-to meal? If you're having friends over, it's a little celebration, they're like, Spencer, make whatever you want. What's something that you know is always gonna hit the spot?
Rack of lamb and fried chicken and curried chicken and oxtails and pound cake and collard greens and macaroni and cheese and sweet potatoes. And then I serve it to everyone, and then I have a salad.
That's the secret.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I said, okay. They could eat all that shit. And I throw 2 sticks of butter up there and 2 cups of sugar.
Spencer, people are going to kill me if I end this interview without getting into this. You look the way you look. You are so healthy. You work out all the time. What would you tell somebody is your secret to always looking really well, keeping your skin in perfect condition, and just keeping your health in alignment? What's your strategy for that?
I think you should work out, go to the gym. Any cardiovascular is good, from playing tennis to running to getting on the elliptical machine. I mean, you're a trainer, you know, and also, I'm not a diet person. I eat whatever I want. That's why I work out so hard. With your skin, I'm slightly OCD about cleanliness. I take 2 or 3 showers a day, one before the gym, one after the gym, and one before I go to bed. And I always lotion up, baby oils. That's that Southern. I mean, if when Vaseline goes away, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because you know, that's how we were raised. We put lotion on the body. Right. We will not die with dry skin.
Right. And Spencer, so you're this big real estate, mogul and somebody to know in the space. And I'm so glad and proud of all your work and everything that you've accomplished. And I know you're going to continue to keep doing so well. And you just make me so happy knowing a guy like you exists, because you have, I guess, all the requirements that is needed for a good life, so to speak, but you treat people very modestly and very just equally. And that's just something, again, I keep wanting to heart, because you are just a great individual all around. Now, you're also a movie star. Yeah, I'm not gonna shed lightly over that. You were in one of my favorite, The Star's Power by Courtney Kemp. You were on that show. How did that role come about, and how did you prepare for it?
Well, I met Courtney through a friend of mine, and she came over for fried chicken, like a dinner you've come over to my house. And she and Anthony Hemingway was the director, and they said they needed a real estate broker. So Courtney called me up and says, "Oh, perfect person, Spencer Means." I loved it. I could be an actor in a minute. I said I loved it, and they had a car pick me up, take me out to the studios in Brooklyn. Was there for one day. I got paid my money. I get a residual check. I said, Lord, I said, actors get paid when they're sitting on their ass. I said, I could see this lifestyle for me, but I would never leave real estate. So that's how it ended. I met Courtney at my house.
This is our final 2 segments. I'm going to say a sentence and you're going to fill in the word, okay?
All right.
So, a great home begins with?
Candles.
Being a great friend starts with?
Loyalty.
I am very proud of?
My weight and my age. I got 2 things on that one.
Good. My biggest turnoff in a relationship is?
Not being on time.
If I wasn't in real estate, I'd be?
I'll be a trainer at the gym.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, this is our last segment right here, and just one sentence, okay? You answer it one sentence. The biggest compliment someone can pay me is?
that I look like I'm 12 years old.
Yeah.
I made a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Right, Red?
Oh my gosh. Okay.